Hello, welcome to True Crime Talk. This is Kathleen, and this is an update video regarding the Michael Gaine case. Of course, the remains found on Michael Gaine's farm have been officially identified as his remains. It says human remains identified as missing farmer Michael Gaine. This is from the BBC website. And it says human remains found at farmland in County Kerry have been identified as being those of missing farmer Michael Gaine. Mr. Gaine, 56, had been missing for more than 8 weeks, and he was initially treated as a missing persons case before it was upgraded to a homicide. The confirmation comes 9 days after human tissue was discovered in fields on Mr. Gaine's farm near Kenmare. The discovery led to the farmyard and several fields being sealed off and declared a crime scene. Since then, the area has been searched by specialist teams, including members of the Garda Irish Police Technical Bureau, assisted by local Garda search teams and the Irish Defence Forces. A man in his 50s who was arrested last Sunday on suspicion of Mr. Gaine's murder was later released without charge. He has denied any involvement in the farmer's disappearance. On Sunday evening, Gardaí confirmed the identification of Mr. Gaine's remains in a statement. They have further appealed to the public for assistance in this investigation. Mr. Gaine, a sheep and cattle farmer, was reported missing from his home near Kenmare on 21st March. He was last seen in the County Kerry town the previous day. He lived in the remote Carrick East area, should be close to the Malls Gap beauty spot along the renowned Ring of Kerry. Last month, Michael Gaine's wife, Janice, told Irish broadcaster RTE that he loved his home, he loved his farm, he loved animals, adding that his disappearance was totally out of character. According to RTE, in-depth investigations by Gardaí ruled out innocent explanations such as a medical event, an accident, or that he left the area voluntarily. A missing persons investigation operates on the basis of consent, but when Gardaí announced a reclassification of their investigation, it meant the range of options in front of the investigation team significantly increased. They could then get search warrants, clear areas of interest, and seize and examine certain items like phones and laptops. So his remains have now been officially identified, and the person who they arrested at one time but then released without charging him is this man right here. His name is Michael Kelley. And it says it's a former U.S. Marine, and he denies involvement and claims that he is being framed. And it says suspect in Mike Gaine murder was issued deportation notice. And this is from the Sunday World. I think it's more like a tabloid type newspaper. I'm not familiar with it. But it says an American who has identified himself as a suspect in the Michael Gaine murder investigation was refused asylum in this country and had been served with a deportation notification. The revelation comes after farmhand and busker Michael Kelley made public his status as an asylum seeker earlier this week. Mr. Kelley, a former U.S. Marine, has sought asylum in this country over fears of unjust persecution in the U.S. A source confirmed the application for asylum was unsuccessful and a deportation notification had been issued. A notification is not the same thing as a deportation order and is served at a much earlier stage when an individual's application for asylum is refused. After a notification is served, the party concerned is still legally entitled to appeal the refusal of their asylum application. American citizens do not have an automatic right of residency in this country. It was unclear yesterday when Mr. Kelley was served with a notification. Kelley, who has been put up in a short-let apartment in Tralee since he was moved off Mr. Gaine's farm in recent weeks, has been spending his days busking in the town. Earlier this week, he publicly identified himself as a suspect in the killing and confirmed that he was the individual arrested by Gardaí on suspicion of Mr. Gaine's murder. He denied any involvement in the killing and said it was his belief he is being framed. Sources also said yesterday that DNA tests carried out on remains recovered from the slurry tank on Mr. Gaine's farm in Carrick East, near Malls Gap, had confirmed they are those of the missing 56-year-old. The family were informed of this development earlier in the week, our source said. The last official sighting of Mr. Gaine was when he bought phone credit in his local Centra shop in Kenmare on March 20th, and it is now feared the tragic farmer was dead within hours of this sighting. Sources also divulged that there are a number of developments ongoing in the probe. And there's another picture of the suspect. It's understood Gardaí are in the process of conducting a full background check on the suspect and are examining his asylum application. Mr. Kelley was arrested on Sunday last, more than 36 hours after suspected body parts had been discovered in slurry being spread on Mr. Gaine's farm the previous evening. Gardaí believe Mr. Gaine was dismembered after he was killed and that the body parts were dumped in a 50,000-gallon slurry tank on the farm. The discovery of the remains in the slurry after it was spread over 2 fields on the farm has led to criticism in the local area of the initial stages of the investigation. However, sources have rejected this criticism, saying no one could have foreseen the possibility at the time the tank was initially drained that the farmer's body had been so brutally dismembered. When the slurry tank was initially drained and the solid waste was searched, this was a missing persons investigation, and those involved were looking for a body. No one had any reason to believe they were searching for body parts and human tissue. Forensic and laboratory tests will now be central in determining the precise cause of death and how long the dismembered remains were in a slurry tank before being discovered. Over the past week, several items on the farm, including a chainsaw, have been secured by Gardaí and sent for forensic analysis. Gardaí had hoped that in the event the chainsaw was used to dismember Mr. Gaine, DNA profiles from the killer and victim might be present. The results of these tests are not being released for operational reasons. Searches this week also focused on a slatted shed unit which allows waste to drain through to a collection tank. The latest operations were supported by local, regional, and National Garda units over other emergency services and the Defense Forces. Speaking yesterday, Kerry TD Michael Healy-Ray said that people in the area remain hopeful and are praying the investigation is brought to a successful conclusion. Obviously, people would have been happier if the remains had been found sooner, but we can't turn back time. So that is the update. The update is that, of course, the remains found on Michael Gaine's farm turned out to be his. They confirmed the DNA, so they know that it is 100% Michael Gaine's remains that they found. And this is a picture of the suspect who apparently publicly identified himself. So I guess he had to publicly come out himself because the Irish media maybe doesn't identify suspects unless they want to be or agree to be put in the public. That's different than the USA. He would have been out there whether he wanted to or not in the public eye, or at least his pictures and stuff. But I guess obviously, they've arrested him one time and are still looking at him as a suspect. So maybe he did do it, or maybe he didn't. Apparently, he says he's being framed. I don't know whether he's guilty or innocent. All I know is that if that he is guilty, it's so sad that he was allowed to come to Ireland and remain in Ireland. I don't know what his background is, if he has a criminal record. And even though I'm American and I don't want him over here, I wish that he would have never been able to go to Ireland and have any contact with Michael Gaine if he is in fact his killer. So I don't know if he had a criminal record here or a mental health record here, like a criminally insane record or something. I don't know what his past is here in America, and I don't know what all he did over there in Ireland. But if he is a bad person and he did this, it's too bad that he wasn't deported before he could do something like that, like this. But just have to wait and see if he is the person who did it. I hope that they're able to come up with enough evidence to charge him. And if he's not, I hope they deport him anyway, because he seems like he's caused some trouble over there, even if he didn't have anything to do with Michael's death, which, my personal opinion is that he probably did, because who else would have a problem with Michael? If it's not like some family situation, then who else would it be? What other enemies could he have had? And if this man has mental health issues or is upset or mad that he had to leave Michael's farm, that could have been a reason why they got in a fight and he killed him, or he just got mad and killed him for the heck of it. I don't know. But that's just a brief update in the Michael Gaine case for Sunday, May 25th, or going into Monday, May 26th, 2025.